for the bench. Fans on their feet in what will likely be the final play of the game. Tisdale over the middle, broken up, caught by Jackson! Touchdown! Patriots! Scoot on over the immaculate reception. The immaculate Devin Jackson. Touchdown, Birmingham. Unbelievable. Wow.
It's believable. It happened. Birmingham, not only the LA City champion, also a regional champion after the deflection finds Jackson's hands. By the way, Jackson will be an immortal name at Birmingham High School. They're just calling it, in Lake Balboa, the Catch. Their coach, Jim Rose, and his daughter, Jessica, will join us. She was named this week the Flag Football Player of the Year in the city. Of course, Jim is the head coach of the Birmingham Patriots. With us is SB Live's Tariq Fatal, and he's fired up with energy tonight over the big games that we just saw this past weekend.
I think it's hard to think of a high school football game with more, a more dramatic finish than that. That's probably, I don't know if it's all time the most dramatic finish, but given what's on the line, winner take home, that's, Randy, and I mean, I know you've called a lot of games, you've been around a long time. That's got to be up there for pretty dramatic finish, considering no time left on the clock and where they were on the field.
I don't think I've ever had a game quite like that over the years. I've had some terrific games, not complaining, but I've never had a finish like that. And I don't think the coach has either. That's Jim Rose. We're going to bring him in with Jessica now. I know, Coach, congratulations, first and foremost. But I know you told me you've never been involved with anything quite like that, have you?
No. I mean, 40 years of football between playing and coaching, in that magnitude of a game, I've never seen anything like that. And it was utter chaos. People were running around, didn't even know where to run after that.
You were telling me you were just hoping for a pass interference call. You got a lot more than that.
Yeah, no, when we threw it up where we were in the field, I was hoping to, maybe a PI and get it to the 35, 37-yard line and be able to take a shot in the end zone. But, hey, I'll take what happened instead of the PI.
Last question about the play. Was the play intended for Peyton Waters? Was that Peyton Waters running across the field, and was that always the play? Like, hey, let's just try and give our best athlete a chance to make a play or draw a foul, as you're alluding to?
Absolutely, it was going to Peyton. I can tell you this Saturday, if it comes out, we're throwing to Peyton.
Okay.
There's no guessing on it.
Right, and again, you got a game Saturday that's obviously a huge game, an opportunity for Birmingham to win a state championship against
Acalanes.
Acalanes, the Dons. What do you know about the Dons from up north?
They got a lot more money than we do.
I can relate to that, Coach. Let's get a comment into Jessica, the Flag Football Player of the Year, Birmingham, and Coach Jim Rose, and Jessica won the LA City Championship, beating a very good San Pedro team in the finals. Jessica, capsulize for us what it means to win the first ever City Player of the Year in the LA City section, and doing it playing for your dad.
To me, it means the best thing in the world, especially to be the first and always be remembered. It's awesome.
What was other than winning the championship, what was your best moment of the year? Is there a play, a win? Give me what you will remember, 10 years from now.
Everything, but if I had to bring it down to one moment, it would be in our first game. I got completely knocked into and my nose started bleeding, and then after that, I scored the first touchdown.
Jessica, I know you're going to play softball for your dad as well. Your dad coaches every sport at Birmingham, I guess. So you're going to play softball, but would you like to play flag football at the next level when you get to college? Is that a possibility?
Yes, it is, and it would definitely be something special.
As a dad, Coach Rose, would you like to see your daughter play flag football? Do you like her as an infield going forward down the road? Where would you like to see her play?
I know the answer.
Probably softball because I spent so much money on it.
I thought that was going to...
The unfortunate thing with the NAIA schools that do have flag football and softball are during the spring semester. So I don't know if the football work out, but she does end up playing in the Olympics when they get here.
There you
Wow.
go.
There it is. It's a scoop.
It's funny. I'll tell you right now, real quick, the girls flag football, I could see that actually being a scholarship collegiate sport here soon. I really do see that. My last question for Jessica is just the opportunity to play college at the next level. We know you're talking to colleges and things like that. We won't talk about that, but what's the biggest thing you're trying to get better at softball right now? I know we're in football season, but as you kind of get into softball mode, what's something we can be prepared to watch you get better at in the spring?
Overall, everything. I just want to up my game, and because I got Player of the Year in flag football, I'm looking for it this year in softball.
And you did it with 11 of your, well, there's a total 11, I guess 10 of your teammates, because you'd be the 11th. How about playing with all those softball players on the flag football team and winning a championship together? I would imagine, Jessica, that made it even more special, correct?
Oh, yeah. It's great. And then this year, for softball, even though our team might not be as well, depends on a lot of factors, we're coming in with a winning mindset for sure.
And flag football obviously helped that out. Last question, Jim, and we wish you well on Saturday. Put into perspective how great this season has been for you personally. Winning flag, winning the city championship in the 11-man football as well. Give us your thoughts on what it's all meant to you, because you've won championships before, but you've never had 2 titles in the same season.
Well, I think since we were picked number 1 from the get-go in football, that it was kind of a relief to win this one. And in the flag one, just like Jessica said, just to be the first to ever do it, I mean, that's just history. And to be part of history, I think it's just a cool thing.
Well, it'd be even greater history if you win on Saturday against the Dons. Best of luck. Jessica, I know you're going to the game. You're not going to suit up because at one point I know you were listed on the roster. I still think your dad should have put you in the championship game against Garfield, get in a few snaps because you won that city championship handily. But, Coach, Jessica, best of luck on Saturday. Congratulations, really, on a historic season.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
And we appreciate you coming aboard. I just think that's phenomenal that Jim Rose wins 2 championships, and now he's turning his attention with the same young lady, his daughter, who won a championship in flag, to help him out try to win a softball title.
Yeah, no, everything Jim does is good, and maybe one of the best things about Jim is he always answers. As a media member, one of my favorite things about Jim Rose, always answers the phone, always calls you back. Really always appreciate that about him.
He never called me back. No, I'm just kidding. No, he does call back. All right, that was a great game with Birmingham. But this one, this St. Bonaventure game, may have matched it. A double pass beat St. Augustine. Now, 21-20, the double pass went from Walter, the quarterback, to Max Peters, a wide receiver, to Kalen Booker to win it on the last play. St. Bonaventure never should have been in it near the stretch run. St. Augustine made some mistakes.
You know, it is pretty cool, and for those high school football junkies out there, Kalen Booker is related to Lorenzo Booker, who was a standout running back at St. Bonaventure.
Great running back, very quick, very talented running back indeed. By the way, I got to give the quarterback there, Anthony Walter, a lot of credit. I mean, down the stretch, he had to make a throw late in the game. He completed it. They got the ball back. He completed the pass down inside near the goal line before the multiple pass play. And he ran his team to the line of scrimmage and downed the ball. Nearly got intercepted. It would have been weird if it did. But he downed it immediately. But how he got his team to the line of scrimmage that rapidly was impressive.
Yeah, it's good to see quarterbacks in composure. Hey, he's a senior, so he's kind of supposed to be even keel in that moment. Easier said than done, of course. And not to mention, earlier in the year, he got hurt. So he's had a really, really tough senior year, and clearly he's shown some resilience.
Well, Mission Viejo is another team that has been strong all season long. And I knew going in they'd have a tough battle with Granite Hills. Team from San Diego was undefeated. Granite Hills went out early to a 14-0 lead. Then Mission Viejo stormed back.
Yeah, I actually thought it was 21-0, but I think you're right. I think it was 14-0 and kind of, whoa, wait a minute, here comes Granite Hills. And Mission Viejo took care of business. Chad Johnson runs a great program. It's rare to see good teams run a 2-quarterback system. They have 2 quarterbacks that play a lot of football and take a lot of snaps. And they have that standout wide receiver, Vance Spafford, who's got over 20 touchdown receptions.
Yeah, you and I were discussing this. We're arguing on how many touchdowns Spafford has. I think it's 22. It was 20, then he had 2 a week ago.
Right. I
think
he might
21.
be right. Max Preps just says 21. That's what I went with in my reporting this week, just because those are their stats. But I think we saw on social media he had 2 touchdown receptions. What's possible is sometimes on Twitter you make a mistake and you report someone else caught a touchdown. So that might have been a mistake. I went with the stats.
All right. 21.
He's got more than 20.
He's great.
Yeah, he's a really good player.
Okay. Lucerna, speaking of great, this was an interesting game to say the least. Another high-scoring affair as they played Orange Vista. It went back and forth, but in the fourth quarter, Lucerna scored 27 points to win it.
Orange Vista has a standout running back and linebacker who's going to, he just decommitted from Arizona State named Sire Gaines. And he got hurt in the third quarter, and CJ Cerrone absolutely took advantage. And he had some really, really big plays in that game for Lucerna. And he was the anchor to that offense. And obviously Owen Long is another two-way standout for the Lancers.
Owen Long, linebacker, running back, very good. This one is a surprise, a good note for the city. Tark pointed it out in one of his SB Live articles. 3 city teams going to state finals. We'll talk about those teams. We already heard from Birmingham. Here banning over La Jolla Country Day of San Diego. Now, La Jolla Country Day is a great athletic program, and coming in, most of the so-called experts would think they'd win this game. Banning steamrolled them, never punted in the game.
Never punted, and I actually had not an argument, but a little debate with Greg Biggins because they went the whole game and didn't attempt a pass until the final 2 minutes. They threw an incomplete. So they technically attempted one pass in the game. Greg Biggins is like, no way. I reported they didn't attempt any passes. I'm like, yes, they did. Anyway, the point is you're right. They didn't have to punt. The offense was methodical. They bullied their way with the running game and controlled the whole entire game. It's a really, really great victory for Banning.
Oh, by the way, these are regional bowl games.
Correct.
The winners of these games qualify to the state. We'll show you the state matchups later. Here's another one. Central Valley Christian over Simi Valley. Central Valley Christian got out of the gate quickly. They have a running back, Bryson Donaldson,
Yes.
4 touchdowns. 55 touchdowns in his career. He's going to Fresno State. He also returned the opening kickoff better than 90 yards for a touchdown.
Every time I was watching this game on NFHS, and every time I was looking up, they were saying his name. I want to say he scored 4 touchdowns in the game. Yeah. God, it seemed like more than that, but he was electric, and everyone was like, who? People in Southern California, the state is so big, right, Randy? So when you're watching these games, you're like, man, who is this guy? Because these teams are so far away. So everyone that was watching Simi Valley game here in Southern California is like, who is this kid? And everyone from Northern California is like, he's like the best player up here. So he'll be one to watch in college.
Another one, when we look at his stats for his career, it shows 56 or 55 touchdowns. Maybe that's even for this year. I think it's for this year.
Okay.
For this year,
yes,
right?
Yes, I was going to say, it's a season total.
Yeah, 56 or 55. I've seen it both numbers. And the interesting thing about him, if you talk to him, apparently he's a very serious kid, nice kid, who says, I am only happy when I score a touchdown. He does not like it when he doesn't score. He thinks he's going to score on every play.
Every time he touches it.
He thinks he should score on every play.
That's the mentality of some players. Coaches kind of instill that in players. If everyone does their job for 3 or 4 seconds, should be a touchdown every time. Actually, who coaches like that is Dean Harrington. He thinks every play should be, if everyone does their job, should be a touchdown every play.
If you execute to perfection, you should
That's
score.
The expectation, okay. Yeah.
Mayfair executed to perfection. Love their nickname, the Monsoons. 52-21 over Mount Miguel.
Yeah, Derek Bedell is their coach, 9th year. First time ever they've won a regional title. First time in a state title, obviously. And cool little tidbit, they have wearable technology. And Derek Bedell told me they have 5 players that run over 20 miles an hour. So they have speedy players, and I think they're going to use that to their advantage in the state final.
And you like their receiver, Galbraith.
Yeah, Chaz Galbraith is only a sophomore, and I think he's 18, 19, 20 touchdown receptions this year. Really, really good player and one to watch for the Monsoons.
Mission Oak over Rio Hondo Prep. The quarterback, Mustaine, is really good at Rio Hondo Prep. Alex threw 2 touchdowns in this game, but Mission Oak was the better football team. They won by double digits, as you can see.
Yeah, Rio Hondo Prep was just a good story all year long. I think at the end of the day, they're a program that's, Randy, this is a school that only has 66 boys in the whole school. So I think one of the best parts about this story, as I mentioned on the show, they had to cancel their basketball games because all the kids that play on the basketball team play on the football team. So they're finally going to be able to start their basketball season. A great season for Rio Hondo Prep.
St. Monica had another great season, but Sweetwater's a very strong program and drilled them pretty good there, 47-27. The quarterback, however, at St. Monica, he's a good player, Brady. Anyone with the name Brady's got to be a good quarterback, right? Brady Cassier, he accounted for 4 touchdowns, all 4 touchdowns in the loss.
If I'm not mistaken, I think he's a freshman. So, yeah, St. Monica has some really nice players that are underclassmen, and I expect them to actually continue to build off this year. They'll be pretty good for the coming years.
Daniel Tovar is a very good running back at Bell Gardens, and he ran the ball effectively, and you can see they won by 20 over L.A. Jordan.
Yeah, that's their go-to player, Daniel Tovar, and, I just expect them to hand him the ball, kind of a if it ain't broke, don't fix it, and hopefully that wins them a state title.
As you look at the overview of the games we just saw, pretty impressive games for the most part, but those first 2 classic finishes.
Yeah, I mean, again, what a great weekend for high school football. Those regional titles, I think real quick, I think every kid grows up wanting to win a CIF championship. So you win that CIF championship, and then there's these extra games, right? These regional bowl games. And some coaches are really good about getting their players up for those games. Some coaches aren't because it's kind of extra. And so when you think about getting a chance to win play for a state championship, most of the time that'll fire up a kid. So kudos to those kids for getting up for one more week and extending their season 2 more games.
And a lot of it, too, is emphasis. Is the emphasis on the program to win the city title, win the CIF title? Does a regional bowl mean that much?
Right.
Some of them don't care as much once they go down the stretch.
No, it's true. And you're right. It's like you grow up thinking, I want to win a city title,
right.
a city title. I want to win a Southern Section title, and you finally get it, and it's just kind of like, oh, man, okay, the regional bowl, and we're playing some team from San Diego or, it's like I don't really know who we're playing. It's just hard to get up for it. But, some programs, they're used to being that deep in the postseason, and so it's part of their ritual.
Now we get to the state finals. Let's start with the open division. Mater Dei, heavy favorite, Sarah San Mateo, outstanding program. This is their 3rd straight visit to the state final. They've lost to, you guessed it, Mater Dei and St. John Bosco. They get another crack at the Monarchs Saturday.
I don't see how anyone can beat Mater Dei from the north. I just don't see it. However, this is why you play the game. If I'm not mistaken, Cal Preps has the game predicted at 44-9, or it might be 44-8, something like that. Now, Cal Preps does get games wrong sometimes, but usually it's when the predictions are within a touchdown. I don't know if they've ever gotten something wrong that large of a prediction. So I don't see the Monarchs faltering. I think Frank McManus will win a state title in his first year.
And does that surprise you? Because I know when we first started talking about the Mater Dei program, we knew they had a lot of great athletes coming back, and they were one of the heavy favorites to do damage in the CIF Southern section. But you told me, will he continue what Rawlinson did?
Correct.
And he has.
Yeah, yes and no. Yes and no. So am I surprised? No, because they came in number 1 team in the country. Am I surprised after they lost 28-0 to St. John Bosco in the middle of the year? Sure. Now I'm surprised because they've turned it around, and that takes a little bit of coaching, a little bit of motivating. Kudos to Frank McManus. However, this is technically, we can say this is technically still a Bruce Rowlandson team, right? So the question I've always asked is, can Frank McManus keep the program rolling at that level? It's not hard to come in and do it in year 1. Can he do it in year 2, year 3? Well, that remains to be seen.
The reason I'd say yes, you know how kids are. They follow championships. If a team's doing well, they're going to go there. They won the championship with McManus as head coach. Next year, I think he'll do quite well, thank you, and I think he will continue it for a long time to come. All right.
I think there'll be a fallout at Mater Dei.
You really do?
Yeah, I think there's going to be an exodus out of Mater Dei.
Wow.
You heard it here first.
Breaking news.
Next game.
Mater Dei's done.
No, I didn't say that. I didn't say that.
No, not done. Okay. I don't think they're done yet either. All right. De La Salle, Mission Viejo. De La Salle was the team for so many years, the best team in the state, best team in the country, had a streak of over 150 straight wins, still the greatest win streak in the history of sports, team sports in America. But I think Mission Viejo may be the favorite here.
I think so too. I think times have changed, and the other thing that's a little different about these years, I can't remember I don't remember off the top of my head when the last time the state championships were down in Southern California, but it's been a while. They've been in Northern California the last X amount of years, and now they're back down here in SoCal. And Mission Viejo is playing at Saddleback College. You know where Saddleback College is? It's in Mission Viejo. So I like the home field advantage per se for the Diablos, and I think they're the team to beat in that game.
Grant and Lucerna. Now, Lucerna's been a great story. They're right down the street from where we do the show in Whittier. They score a lot of points. I know you love the quarterback, but Grant from Sacramento is loaded.
Loaded.
So they're the favorite. Lucerna's guys would probably tell you they're the underdog.
Heavy favorite, but you know what? Sometimes in these games, there's value in being the underdog, right? Because it's for all the marbles, as they say. So, hey, maybe Lucerna can pull out a really, really strong, thrilling victory. I don't see it. I think Grant is going to win that game. They have talent all over the field.
Birmingham, you're up next, and we'll see what they do. They're going to be in a state championship game, and there it is. You can see that their opponent, the Dons, have lost some games this year. Birmingham did early, but once they got into city competition, they blew out the competition, certainly through the West Valley and the city playoffs, knocking off a good Carson team in the playoffs, then obviously demolishing Garfield in the classic win over Del Norte in the Regional Bowl. I don't know. I don't know anything about their opponent.
Yeah, Jim Rhodes said that Acalanes is like Del Norte, but a little bit faster. So obviously Del Norte was a handful for Birmingham and needed a miracle at the end to beat them. So, I take that with a grain of salt. But you just never know. Again, this is the final game of the year. Who's going to get up for it? Who's going to make the play? Who's going to make the mistakes? That's what makes it fun.
Well, it was a 52-yard miracle play. Maybe they'll take a 75-yard miracle play since this team is maybe a little bit faster. All right, Marin Catholic and Mayfair. Here's our Monsoon team again. Again, these are matchups, and it's hard to predict. You see that Marin Catholic has a very nice record.
Yeah, Mayfair, I think, is going to be able to use their speed. So after talking with Derek DeBell over the week, he was talking about how Marin Catholic they beat McClymonds, obviously, because they're in the state final. But McClymonds is a speedy team.
Right.
Mayfair, he thinks the Monsoons are faster than McClymonds. He thinks that they'll give Marin Catholic all they can handle.
Yeah, we've talked about, and there it is. There's the matchup. St. Bonaventure and Folsom, terrific game. Folsom is a powerhouse, but this St. Bonaventure team, all they do is win close games.
They're very well coached, really well, disciplined team. Everyone knows their role, Randy, and I just think that's a game where everyone thinks Folsom's going to get it because they generally have the better athletes and they have a little more electricity on their side. But boy, St. Bonaventure is like this, man. They are threaded together. Again, they're well coached, and I just would not put it past the Seraphs to win that game.
And again, the Seraphs might think it's a team of destiny after what happened last week.
Absolutely.
Again, they were down and out. They won on the double pass, but they never should have got the ball back. San Diego team made some mistakes in their execution. They should have taken a safety, and they would have won the game.
It was a 2-touchdown game in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, but it was the fact that they didn't take the safety. If they take the safety, they run the clock out.
And at this point of the year, everyone's good, right? Within their own weight class, per se. So you're not expecting a team at that level in 1AA to give up a 2-touchdown lead in the fourth quarter. But that's a really well put. That's really well put, Randy. They might be the team of destiny this year.
Appreciate the compliment, Dark. Thank you.
Really, really good.
Right. Thank you. Woodland Christian and Banning matchup.
Sure.
Banning's a traditional power in the LA City section. You look at the record, they didn't do great in the Marine League, but they were solid in the Marine League. Woodland Christian's undefeated, unblemished. I've always thought if a team's undefeated, you just don't know how good they really are.
True.
Because no one's been able to beat them. So they could be phenomenal for all we know. But Banning's big, physical. We saw him run the football. Guerrero's a good quarterback. Again, you would think Woodland Christian based on the records, but the game's in Southern California. Banning's not too far from El Camino College.
I tell you what, Woodland Christian is probably scratching their head wondering how to play Banning, because we're talking about them being a powerhouse run football team. Guerrero can throw the ball too. He passed for more than 2,000 yards this year. So they throw the ball too. So I think that was a huge thing in the regional game, was Banning just went with the run game, and the opposition was not prepared for that. that much run. And so anyway, my point is they're going to have a little bit of balance. They're going to be able to do both, and maybe that bodes well for them.
Friday, and this is the last state bowl game we'll talk about, Ferndale and Fairfax. Both teams get an F. No, it's Fairfax and Ferndale. Both teams with 10-4 records. Coach Solario was on our show last week from Fairfax. His team throws the football. He said he felt comfortable with either team that showed up. He didn't know who he was going to play at the time. Ended up being Ferndale. He thinks he can pass the football on Ferndale. Based on what he told me, we like Fairfax, but we really don't know.
If I'm not mistaken about Ferndale, I think they're a team, they'll come down with like 35, 40 kids. It's kind of a small rural city way up in Northern California. And it'll be a little bit of a different, diverse kind of game too. Ferndale, not a lot of culture in Ferndale, where in Fairfax, Coach Lario was talking about how 28 countries are represented on his squad. So kind of a different context in regard to community between Ferndale and Fairfax, not to mention their play style. So I expect it to be a really interesting game.
And Ivan Levant's another guy who threw a touchdown to Joseph in overtime against Chatsworth to win the city title. They got a bye to the state championship game. Maybe they feel like the Fairfax kids, like they're a team of destiny as well, to win an overtime game to get to the state final. All right, let's chat a little bit of basketball. I want to keep Tarek happy. He loves hoops. We have the St. John Bosco Winter Classic this week.
Yeah, it's a really great event. There's some really good teams in it. It's actually not as loaded as past years. St. John Bosco, La Mirada, Long Beach Poly. I'm missing one or other two teams. It's okay this year. I expect La Mirada and St. John Bosco to be in the final. That'll be played on Saturday.
How about J. Sarah 75, Heritage Christian 55? The two players, Sebastian Rancic and the guard Aiden Fowler. Jay Sarah's for real. I mean, we talk about some of the other powerhouses, but they can play.
I'd like to give myself a little pat on the back if I could reach it.
I can almost reach it.
Yeah,
I
thanks.
can't quite get there.
Because in the preseason polls, various media outlets didn't have Jay Sarah even in the top 10. I had them preseason ranked number 6. I've always felt like they're an open division team, and they proved that when they beat Eastvale of Roosevelt. So they are 9-0. They've got the players. They've got the quality. They got the coach. They will be an open division team. We could potentially see 3 Trinity League teams and 3 Mission League teams in the open division. It's possible. I don't know how likely it is, though.
If I say St. Pius, what comes to mind? Because they almost beat Harvard Westlake.
Yeah, Dante Archie is a really, really good young coach, kind of up-and-coming coach. Tyrone Riley is one of their better players. They have David Mack, a transfer from Fairfax.
Yeah.
So, 72-71, going up against the Open Division State champs on the road in Studio City. Yeah, man, you're right there. They're right on the cusp. And I was a little Twitter debate the other night about it because they are certainly playing open division basketball, Randy, but in order for the committee to put you in, it's only 8 spots, and you got to crack some of those like blue bloods per se. And what the problem is, okay, you play those teams tough, that's great. You got to win a couple of those games to get in the open division. So let's see if St. Pius can do that this year.
And they had a shot to win the game after being 19 down.
Correct.
To the Wolverines.
Yeah, they got the stuff.
Quick basketball note, girls basketball in the city section. Birmingham is 4-0. Is Birmingham great in everything in the city section? And Westchester is 5-0. Westchester is the defending city champion with Mariah Blake. Birmingham had a big win over Calabasas. Got the score here, and it was big. It was by almost 20, 68-49. Lily Martinez with 18 points. So Birmingham is great in girls basketball along with Westchester.
Yeah, I think Westchester's probably the team to beat in the city for girls basketball.
Sierra Canyon ranked number 1 in the SAF Southern Section poll ahead of Etowanda.
Yeah, not surprising. They having Jersey Robinson, that's the standout sophomore transfer from Arizona. That just puts the Trailblazers kind of in a different stratosphere a little bit. They're McKinley Randolph, Azalea Arenas, like they're going to be really, really good. Of course, Kennedy Smith.
Etowanda.
Yeah, South Carolina's recruiting her. That's like, Connecticut, South Carolina. Those are the 2 top programs now in the country for college hoops in women's basketball. So, yeah, they'll be right there. And, of course, they're coached by Let 'em Loose, Stan DeLoose.
Stan DeLoose.
Love
the guy.
Yeah, no. Talk about character, man.
He's a nice guy. That's it, Tark. We're done.
Hey, man, another great Thursday. I think we got one more show before we wrap up the 2023 calendar year.
I'm glad you brought that up because we're going to have all kinds of highlights next year.
You mean next week?
From the year. Yeah, next year.
Yeah.
It's going to be the next year.
No, it'll be a great way to end the year. And again, 2023 has been fantastic. Personally, for me, it's been a great year. So looking forward to wrapping it up with you.
Why was it a great year? Come on, say it. It's her birthday today. No. Every Thursday is her birthday.
Well, I mean, I became a dad. I got a new job. A couple different things happened in 2023.
Say goodnight.
Good night, everybody.
For Tark, I'm Randy. Next time, next Thursday, last show of the year. Talk about everything during the year. See you. Good night on SoCal Prep Report.
The last show of the year, you're putting flags on.
No.
Yes, you are.
No.
You're
the highlight of the year
on.
is Isla being born. That's it. I want baby pictures next week.
Okay, we can get
Gotta
her
have
on.
baby pictures next week.
Well, she's not quite. Maybe I'll have to bring her in the studio.
Why don't you?
Not
Can
next
you do it
week.
next year?
Not
Why
next
not?
Week, no. Maybe when she's like 6 months old, I'll bring her in.
Really?
Yeah.